I think it's important to have people that you look up to in content and stuff.
And so getting back to the debate at hand, Andrew, did you want to continue on with the force doctrine conversation?
I do. But like, I need you to actually engage with my inquiry. The reason I'm giving you, maybe
I thought we were going to switch topics. Oh, we're staying on this one?
So
I think he wanted to just finish it.
Yeah, we weren't done with it.
Okay.
Yeah, so the reason I want you to engage with it is because it's a falsifier for your worldview.
Okay.
And
sure.
If you refuse to engage, it looks like you're just refusing to allow the falsifier for your worldview. So if we can get back to it, I'd like to. My question starts with inherent rights. You claim that they're inherent, and I'm asking you, if a government's not giving them to you, and God's not giving them to you, where are they coming from?
That's a good question. So if we just existed, there was no government, and I was an atheist, I would, in theory, have the ability, the right to walk around freely, to make myself food, to do all these things without the fear of violence. But if violence did happen, then we would have to create...
How would you, in theory...
because I believe that communities...
To just walk around without any threat of violence.
Because there were plenty of communities that have done that in
Does
the
a
past.
rabbit have the ability to walk around without any threat of violence inherently?
No, but I'm not a rabbit.
Yeah,
so
I know. But the thing is like, why not? Why doesn't the rabbit have that?
Because there are predators. So what would our predator be? Are you saying men are the predators?
Well, or women? But
if men are the predators, that goes against everything we talked about in the first half of the debate.
Or women? Did you hear that part? Or women? Like, women can assault you. Doesn't require a man, doesn't require a penis for somebody to assault you. So the thing is like, if it is the case then that the rabbit has no inherent rights because there's predators or people who would be predatory, or even if we said that there would be some men who would be predatory even, how do you have this right to walk around unmolested and the rabbit does not?
So you are wanting me to say that we have to enforce it, right? Which we do.
I'm just asking.
But I don't think we have to enforce it through like physical force. I think we can enforce it through like words and like being able to like speak to each other, and then like
the rabbit screams and the coyote doesn't care. So if it's the case that people don't care about whatever the wolves don't care about what the rabbit says, right? They don't care about the rabbit screams. Does the rabbit have rights?
If the wolf doesn't care if the rabbit screams, does the rabbit have rights?
Yeah.
Is an interesting question. I suppose
the rabbit has the right to not get eaten by the wolf.
But like, again, I mean, I think most people would agree that there is a fundamental distinction between humans and animal societies. So I don't understand how it's relevant to my point.
In this case, the equation would just be a rabbit is a biological walking being, right? And so is a wolf. The rabbit does not have the right not to get eaten by the wolf. What gives you any inherent right to not be in any way assaulted, molested, undignified, or whatever, if it is the case that people want to do this to you? What is the inherent right there?
Right. I could ask you the same thing.
Yeah, but why don't you answer the question, then ask yours?
No. I'm saying I could ask.
Figuratively,
sorry. Figuratively. I could ask you the same thing in terms of like what would give you the right to walk around and to like be respected and have your wife Rachel talk to you and
force.
But I don't think it has to be. I think historically a lot of it has been force, but I don't think it has to be. I think there exists an egalitarian society where we can all collectively have the ability, and they used to just.
I don't even disagree with this.
Right, but
can this happen?
But yes. They used to just expel people out of the community, and they wouldn't be able to survive without the community. Like they would die, and so that's not necessarily, in my opinion, force.
Yeah, it's force. They can't go back to the community, so people are forcing them out, right?
But it's not like a physical force.
It's physical force. It's backed up by physical force. Why can't you go back into the community? What happens?
Well, there's also the emotional component of like ignoring the person, not giving them food. It's not...
That's not what people did. They didn't ignore them. They said, if you come back here, there's going to be consequences, right? Otherwise, that's not really a banishment. I mean, what would stop them from just walking in and being like, you can ignore me, but I'm going to take your food and whatever I need to survive?
Sure. But the point being, for me, I believe that because those types of societies are possible to exist, right, without the physical threat of force and having to put people in cages and kill people to preserve the social order, then therefore, I think that we should not have to have a patriarchy or a matriarchy.
Yeah,
I think we should just be able to exist in the right, because the rights come within us.
I agree that you can have all sorts of different arrangements for how a society is arranged.
But I'm saying because of those things, then...
Yeah, but that doesn't give us the answer here for why it is that the rabbit doesn't have
Right.
the right to not get eaten
I mean,
by
I
the
don't
wolf,
think
but
I'm-
you have the right to not get assaulted by another human being. What gives you that right?
I mean, I don't think I'm going to at any point give you the answer that you're looking for
I'm just
because
looking
we fundamentally
for the
just
answer.
disagree.
What you said is because future societies can look different. That doesn't tell me anything.
That's really not like what I was saying. I was also drawing from the past. But I mean, personally, I think that, sorry, the problem here is that we have seen, we've seen the patriarchy as something that should be either seen as malevolent or benevolent. And I don't think that it should be classified as something that we need, generally speaking. I think there are systems of organization where we don't have to rely upon men.
Can I try this?
Because that seems to be what you're trying to
Let me
get
try
at.
a different way. Can you repeat my question to me so I know that you understand what my question is?
No. I would just, I mean,
Can
again,
you repeat my question to me so I know you understand what it is? Please.
I'm getting real close to
Why? Because you won't answer this question.
I am answering in a way that you don't find satisfactory,
I'll say,
and
what do you
because
want
of that,
to eat tonight? And you go, margarine hat. It's like, it doesn't tell me nothing.
But you're asking me the question repetitively
Because you won't answer it.
No. I won't answer it in the way that you want.
No, you just won't answer it, period. Listen, do you think it's a fair answer for you to say, how tall are you? And I say 83? Is that an answer?
Well, I don't need an answer from, like, I'm not demanding. I am not someone who, you're looking at me like I have to answer you. Like, just because I'm here doesn't mean I have to do anything.
What are you doing in a debate if you won't answer questions about your worldview?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be here, right? Like
answering
promotion,
questions about your
for
worldview?
your brand.
Do you
for
think you're promoting
travel,
your brand well when you
right?
won't answer questions about your worldview?
I mean, that's subjective, and I have been answering questions.
You haven't. What you've done is every single time I ask you this question, right, you appeal to something that doesn't answer it. You say, well, there could be future
According
society.
to you.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
But I've given you the answers
I'll tell
I
you
have.
what. Let's try
like,
this.
That's why you're trying to force me into a corner
let's
that
try-
I don't have
let's
the answers.
try this. Let's try this instead, right? Because when people do this all the time. They say, I am answering the question when they're not answering any question at all. Can we just try this? Can you just give me a real quick summary? Where do rights come from?
Okay, so I think that, and you're going to say, but you don't believe in God. But I'm going to give you, because this seems to be the only naturalist, or the only explanation you will accept from me is the naturalist explanation. I think that they are inherent. And let's say human beings are God, right? Like some people believe that each person has an essence that belongs to God. So let's say that. So therefore, it's
But you don't
inherent. It
believe
comes from
that.
God. We are God. I believe that each person is made up of a collective that could be considered like a human spirit. So yes. So
But you don't believe in God.
But a human spirit to me is God. So I think that each person has the ability to self-govern, and those rights are given to us by ourselves, because
Wait a
whether
sec.
we're God or not.
Okay. The rights come from us. Okay.
Yes. So, and that's coming from the humanist perspective.
So rights come from you, the individual. That makes, okay, that's at least an answer. So rights come from individuals. So how do individuals then, if they grant themselves these rights, keep them?
By communication and compassion. I'm an optimist. So ideally, we don't have to use force.
And somebody does not want to agree with you and says, I don't care what you say, what happens then?
So, okay, I will concede your point that to preserve the order.
To preserve rights,
Sure.
you would have to appeal to force.
Then there are occasional needs for force. Sure.
Okay, well, let me make this...
Because I know that's what you're trying to...
Let me make this
get
even
me to say.
wider. Let me make this even wider. I don't believe that you can name any type of governmental system or any type of anything in which force is not going to be the backer for what the establishment is, period. I don't even think it's possible. Like, how could it even be possible that you're not always appealing to force?
Let's say I concede. Then, what's your point? Like relating back to
My point is
men are
that
the
you're
enforcers.
you're always going to be appealing to men for your rights.
But why do men have to be the enforcers? Like, let's say your force, like force doctrine.
Because
yes.
women can't overpower men. Only men can.
But weapons exist. So, like, what if
And
women?
who's better with weapons? And who makes weapons?
Okay, but what if like women somehow took over all the weapons and going into this hypothetical, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Women take over all the weapons. We teach each other how to use it,
Sure.
and men can't do anything. In theory, could then a matriarchy exist?
So I could say that it would.
I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah. So I could say it's logically possible, but just so you know, when I say logically possible, Superman's logically possible, Wolverine's logically possible, all the
Right.
X-Men are logically possible. I could say that this is logically possible, that women could seize all the means of production, all weapons, and enslave men. Logically, there's no contradiction. The descriptor for reality, though, is that I would say descriptively in reality, it's impossible that women could never overpower men collectively, take over any means of production, nor begin to produce weapons ever and have any great effect if men didn't want them to. It's not even possible. I don't see how it's possible.
So your conclusion, though, is based off of this scenario that you are saying isn't possible, but you're saying it's logical. So,
yeah, but
I mean, I disagree. I think it is possible, though.
But try to
that's
understand
an
the
opinion.
difference between logical possibility, which just means
Right.
no contradiction.
Yes.
So almost anything's logically possible.
Yeah, right. It just seems like
There's a world in which you're a man and a misogynistic man.
Sure.
That's logically possible.
right. Yeah.
So
no, but
so that doesn't tell us much, right?
But I'm saying, like, your force doctrine, though, like, you're saying, okay, so let's say I agree with the fact that force is necessary to keep a
Necessary
society.
precondition, yeah.
Right. So let's say I agree.
Yeah.
But then your conclusion that you're drawing is that therefore so because of this, then men are the enforcers, right? Because they're physically bigger. Therefore, then men give us our rights.
Yeah, well, no.
Right.
I'll give it to you in this premise form. It would
Okay.
work like this.
Yes.
Women cannot collectively overpower men. Men can always collectively overpower women because the sexes need each other, literally need each other, cannot be disassociated. Otherwise, there's no humanity. There'll always be a banking of an enforcement arm which protects women and men and children, and that will always have to go to men because men are the physically dominant sex. So if that's the case, it will always be the case. You have to appeal to men for the very rights in which you think you have, right?